Okay, my friends, Roger once again, and evidence is piling up, and this is just research, and I want this directed at doctors because this is brand new stuff. Newly discovered T-cell, we're going to go into what a T-cell is, could rid late-stage cancer patients of tumors. Late stage, that's when you're ready to die, especially with lymphomas. This could be the biggest development in cancer treatment over 50 years. The patient's body was still protected by a fleet of souped-up killer immune cells known as T-cells. Well, they souped them up. How did they soup them up? They souped them up with what they call a living drug that was found in the blood work of a late-stage cancer survivor. So there was something in that late-stage cancer survivor's blood that killed the tumors. What could that possibly be? All right, this is the absolute latest on research about invasive diseases. And this is just research. That's all it is. I'm not telling anybody to do anything, don't do anything. It's complete research. And mostly it's directed towards, professionals. Now, membranes are something that they knew about, but they didn't really understand the extent of them. And they are thin sheets of tissue, cover all the body, lining of the body, the cavities, organs, everywhere. They can be categorized into epithelial and connective tissue membranes. Now, why do I say they're not as fully understood as they should be? Because this is basically a new organ system they discovered, which is here it is right here. The interstitium, a newfound organ. They didn't realize this highway was here, and it conducted through the entire body. And I believe this is where the bacteria is flowing, and the immune cells are living in this area, squirting out bacteria and enzymes into this fluid-filled highway to go attack invaders. And I can also show you the attack mechanism as well. And I believe this new bacteria, or this new lymphocyte procedure that they did, where they injected this little lymphocyte with something, and it went back and killed all the cells that were invading. Now, that's what they claim. Again, research. I have no idea if it's right or wrong, but I'm going to show you what they're presenting, and it looks pretty promising to me. Okay, again, this is a region I study, and it's just strictly research, but probiotics are living little creatures, which are the bacteria, and they live in that region that I showed you, which is your immune system. It's the lymphocyte cells, and how they could improve cognitive decline. But it's for a variety of things because they literally do the chemistry. All right. You're going to have to take a little bit of time and think about this carefully. And again, research only. Researchers at Cardiff University in the United Kingdom found that these special T-cells, and we're going to be looking at T-cells in a minute, may be much better at recognizing the attacking cells from tumors than average T-cells. Average T-cells, they look around, sometimes the tumors come in and they just don't recognize them. These can recognize them and attack them. And not only can they attack this one type of cancer, they can attack multiple types of cancer from various angles all at one time, this particular type of T-cell. Well, why is this so special, this particular T-cell? Let's look into the research about that. And here's what they say. Our findings really surprised us. Nobody knew individual T-cells could recognize cancer cells by several different cancer-associated proteins. Remember that, cancer-associated proteins. I'll show you what proteins are in a minute. But they can recognize them simultaneously, all of these different cancers. And then they can just go kill them. So we wanted to know how some patients with end-stage cancer, they're ready to die, who had been treated with tumor-infiltrating lymphocyte therapy. Remember that. Tumor-infiltrating lymphocyte white blood cell therapy successfully cleared their cancer. How did they do it? How did that happen? They were just ready to die. And they just wiped it right out. So they went hunting for answers. Now, this last decade or so, tumor infiltrating lymphocytes, that type of therapy has emerged as a powerful new way to possibly eradicate late-stage cancer. Now, they don't understand how it works, but it works 80% of the time, they said. All right, so here's the end result of this. The therapy involves taking a patient's own white blood cells. So they take your own lymphocytes, your own blood cells, the white ones, directly from the tumor. All right, so they find out what's in that tumor and growing and artificially enhancing them to better attack that cancer. So they take that tumor, they infiltrate it with these specific lymphocytes, and we're going to talk about those T-cells in a second. Despite these incredible results, scientists, they don't know how the therapy works. They don't know how it works, it just works. Now, researchers have been trying to figure out for years, and now they've had a breakthrough. All right, once again, research. What they discovered was kind of stunning. In examining the results phase 1 and 2 trials, 31 patients with malignant melanoma, that means you're basically on the way out, received this therapy. Researchers found those who successfully cleared their cancer still showed strong T-cell response over a year later. All right, now, and that, they say 80% responded. This is what they said right here. In clinical trials, therapy seemed to work more than 80% of the time. Incredible results. But they don't know how it works. Now, the T-cells from one of these patients were remarkably multi-pronged. All right, T-cells have a way to attach. They see pronged. I'll show you what pronged means. Pronged means, it means magnetic. Basically, it's magnetism. I'll show you in a second. Multi-pronged, showing the potential to respond to most types of cancers, not just melanoma. Melanoma is skin cancer, attacks your lymph nodes. Now, importantly, we have seen large numbers of multi-pronged T-cells in blood of cancer survivors. Now, to date, we have not found such multi-pronged T-cells in people where cancer progresses. All right, so let's talk about these T-cells. All right, this is kind of interesting, and if anybody has any information about this goes back 7 years ago. Cancer researcher, extraordinary results using T-cells. CNBC, scientists hail spectacular results, cancer revolution, same time frame. February 2016, annual meeting for this conference exchange of research people. Same thing, February 2016, extraordinary T-cell results presented at the AAAS, which is the, I forget what it is, American Association of whatever. And it's all over these things. All right. Spotlight featured researcher Stanley Riddle develops immunotherapies, harness the power of the immune system. Well, that's what I look into right now is the immune system. And he presented all this results. Scientists hail spectacular results. All right. And they presented this stuff, discovered a medical breakthrough for cancer. This is what it reported. Now, that's not me. That's them. And this is in the American Association for the Advancement for Science. He was hailed as results were unprecedented. Now, let's see if we can understand what the results were and why they're unprecedented, and if there's new meaning to this, because I think there is. Okay, my friends, this is going to be kind of exciting, and it's not whatsoever meant for any kind of medical advice, do this or do that. I don't do that. This is research, and I'm getting into the chemistry that affects this interstitial layer, which is the barrier between you and disease. We're going to get into this quite deeply. And I have done this my whole life. I understand the chemistry involved, the bonding, the polar particles, and how they're attached, and energies and all this stuff, because you have to understand this in such a deep manner, because this is attacking of molecules, and it's all related to amino acids. And amino acids are all related to bacteria. If you don't have the bacteria, you will not have the amino acids. So this is research only. And we have to figure out what bacteria is missing and what is too much. There has to be a balance. Because right now in your body, you have flesh-eating bacteria. If you don't have it, you're in trouble. You say, oh, flesh-eating bacteria. Yes. Your body is dying continuously inside of you. There's all kinds of dead cells right now. Something's got to go over and consume them. And that's in your lymph node system. The lymph nodes really end up, filtering out all of the bad stuff, and then they continue on sending their fluids around to pick up all the crap. And they do that in this layer. This is the fluid-filled highway. They just discovered this, 2018. By the time the autopsy people had it, it was all flat as a pancake. I knew about this layer long ago because of my Mudfossil research, and I could see all of these pathways, and I knew this layer existed. And now they know it too, and they know that it is the layer that houses the bacteria in the white blood cells. Let's look into this. All right, I think I might go over this again, but remember this tumor-infiltrating lymphocyte therapy. Lymphocyte. Well, let's look what a lymphocyte is, and this T-cells, because these are T-cells. And they're better at recognizing and attacking the tumors than a normal average T-cell. Well, recognizing and attacking. How does it recognize? How does it attack? That's the key. These are proteins, and they're assembled in a certain way. And there's collagens that are created, and they're in copious quantities. These are collagens, right? They account for 30% of your body's proteins. Proteins are these amino acids all configured in a certain way to do a certain job. Now, it provides structure, support, strength, skin, muscles, bones, connective tissues. Scientific research is lacking for most collagen supplements. They really don't understand them well. But a well-balanced diet gives your body the raw ingredients it needs to help it make collagen naturally. Yes, to make collagen naturally, you need bacteria. Again, this is research. If you don't have the bacteria, you're not going to get the collagen. You're not going to get the collagen, you're going to have some kind of chronic condition. And what is collagen? Collagen is the most abundant protein in your body, counts for over 30% of its total protein. Collagen is a primary building block. The primary building block, not only of your skin, but everything in your whole body. Because, well, not everything, but collagen is built up of amino acids, and it is a primary building block of your skin, your muscles, your bones, your tendons, your ligaments, all your connective tissues, and all your membranes. They're not talking about membranes. They should be, because that's the key. It's also found in your organs, blood vessels, intestinal lining. Every membrane is made from collagen types. Proteins are made from amino acids, all right? Because this is all made from proteins. The main amino acids that make collagens are proline, glycine, and hydroxyl. These amino acids group together to form protein fibrils, all these networks, in a triple helix structure. Your body also needs the proper amount of vitamin C, zinc, copper, magnesium to make the triple helix. All of that stuff is assembled by bacteria. So if you don't have the correct bacteria living inside your cells, they're not going to function correctly. And that's why they're looking at protein structure and how the information is passed in cellular, what are proteins made of. This goes deep, so stick around. Okay, my friends, this is really amazing. This is Gokul from, I believe he's UC Berkeley, and he's talking about, your textbooks are wrong about this layer of interstitium. They just discovered it recently, and he's talking about this and showing what actually exists in that layer. This is from Seeker Channel. You have 5 million subscribers. Now listen to what he says. And I'll explain to you exactly what it is that he's talking about and what lives in this immune system layer. All right, you ready? Here goes.
I still remember the moment. It's something I will never forget. The hair on my hands just stood up. It's a microscopic universe within each cell.
This is an unprecedented view of the cellular world, where we can actually see immune cells scooping up sugars in the ear of a zebrafish in real time.
Focusing only on the crawling immune cells, we've noticed 2 classes of them. One was not hungry at all, but it was very active in terms of trying to figure out, what the environment is. There was another one that was kind of slouching around with a lot of food in its belly. We can actually conceptualize and visualize and analyze the contents of each of these cellular compartments in this crawling immune cell as it's kind of, scooping up its environment. I mean, that is a level of details no one's seen before.
We're living in a new era of cell biology, where microscopy advancements are giving biologists the opportunity to reveal the hidden patterns of cells. What we expect to learn from here on out will transform our understanding of human health and...
Okay, I agree with that 100%. So let's take a look back at what Gokul talked about, and I'll try to explain what you visualized. Okay, once again, research only. What is a T-cell? It's a white blood cell called a lymphocyte, and it helps your immune system fight germs and protect you from diseases. There's 2 different types. One of them is a cytotoxic T-cell. It destroys infected cells. So if you got something in your body that's going to die, it wipes them out and gets rid of them. Helper T-cells send signals that direct other immune cells to fight infection. So it's either infected and dying, or it's infected and trying to take over, that type of thing. But one of them destroys these cells, and the other one goes out and finds and signals them. And that's exactly what they found at this video I'm going to show you with Gokul. That's exactly what they found, is these 2 different types of cells that are these T cells, and they're in the white blood cells called the lymphocytes. Okay, the key here is that it causes several different cancer-associated proteins simultaneously. Now, the cancer proteins, I would say, are the membranes that coat the cancer, because everything has a membrane around it. So if it can infiltrate one membrane, it may be able to get other membranes that are associated to that similar types of cancers, or maybe a whole broad range of them. I don't know, but I would suspect there's a possibility it's attacking the fascia surrounding it, the cell membranes surrounding the cancers. That's what I would take from this. All right, something that most people probably don't understand is DNA is not just the building blocks of making your fingers grow in the right places and all that stuff. DNA, there's a lot of non-coding DNA. And DNA contains instructions that are used to create proteins in the cells. However, the amount of DNA contained inside each cell is vast, and not all the genetic sequences present within a DNA molecule actually code for proteins. They do all kinds of things, and they are the instruction manual of life. And they actually instruct the bacteria what to make, as far as I can tell. And again, this is research. We need to find out what bacterias are present in what creatures, and what the blood and the proteins and the feces and all that stuff has to work together to create these working DNA sequences. You can have the DNA sequence perfect, but if you don't have the bacteria there to create the enzyme to make this nucleophilic substitution happen instantly, it's not going to happen. So your DNA says, hey, go make this, and it says, hey, go make it. There's nobody out there. It doesn't get made. But if it is somebody out there, bam. And when I say bam, I mean bam. Hundreds of thousands of interactions per second from one single enzyme. And that enzyme was created by a bacteria. All right, this is interesting to understand. does eating collagen-rich food increase the collagen level in your body? Not necessarily. Collagen cannot be absorbed by your body as just collagen in its whole form. Can't absorb it. Your body breaks down the collagen proteins into amino acids. Well, how does it do that? How does it break it down? Eating collagen-rich foods doesn't directly result in higher collagen levels in your body. We need the enzymes to break it down. You don't have the enzymes, it's not going to get broken down. And in my world, the enzymes only come from the bacteria. All right, again, this is just research. I'm just looking into this like everybody is. What are collagen peptides? I think I've probably shown you polypeptides and the little peptide chains and so forth. But collagen peptides are small little chains of animal collagen. All right, it cannot be absorbed in a whole form, just like the other ones. It has to be broken down into smaller peptides, which is the amino acids. Oral collagen supplements come in the form of pills and powders. They usually contain 2 or 3 amino acids. They are sold, and there's 20 amino acids. They're sold as collagen peptides, hydrolyzed collagen. Collagen peptides absorbed through your gastrointestinal tract, and which is where most of the stuff gets absorbed. Now, what do they say about the effectiveness? There's no randomized trials. So, like, again, this is not research. I mean, this is research. All right, I don't know what to say about this. It's confusing because this goes back 7 years. This is about this T-cell therapy, exceptional, extraordinary results. They go on and on and on about it. And what they ended up doing was injecting, to administer this therapy, this T-cell therapy, doctors removed immune cells, your white blood cells, from the patient, tagging them with receptor molecules. Well, what's a receptor molecule? That receptor molecule targets a specific cancer, as other T-cells target flus and infections and all kinds of things. T-cells are the attack dogs. They then infuse the cells back into the body. So they took your immune cells out and they said, let's put this good stuff in there, put it back in and see what happens. It went back in and it grew, and it made them immune, and it killed off all of the, well, it killed the tumors. Now, this goes back 7 years ago. Now, then he's talking about there's reason to be optimistic, there's reason to be pessimistic. What happened? I can't find anything that happened after that 7 years ago. So I don't know what to think about this now. But I understand the therapy here. I understand the thinking. Now, there's one last thing to do about this is engraftment. Engraftment means they put it right inside the immune cells. So that's engrafting. They took and administered a T cell and removed the immune cells, tagging them with a receptor. Apparently, they slid the enzyme producing bacteria or whatever it was into the immune cell to create these new molecules that went out and wiped out all the cancer. Now, again, this is research only, and these people were terminal. They were dying, so they didn't have a whole lot to lose. Apparently, some of them did die, and some of them got other conditions that they think were associated to this interaction that they did with their T cells. Now, whether it is or not, I don't know, but they did have a very good remission rate. And again, they were pretty much all gonna die. You get to that stage, and they don't have much hope for you. So they said that the T cells are often considered an option of last resort because reprogramming those can come with dangerous side effects, cytokine storms and all kinds of things. But they still had pretty good success. Now, and then it just stopped. I don't know what stopped it, but it just stopped. This is, I suspect, part of the problem, is engraftment. which means you can flush things through your system and they'll do the chemistry, but then they go away. You need it to be done inside your living cells. So engraftment is when the blood-forming cells you receive, this is a blood transplant. Transplant day start to grow and make healthy blood cells. Well, you want your engraftment to be of bacteria living inside your immune cells. You need bacteria living in there, otherwise you're not going to create the enzymes. You're not going to have the enzymes, you're not going to have the chemistry. You don't have the chemistry, your membranes become invaded. And you have all kinds of chronic issues. You can't break down your food. You can't make vitamins and minerals. You're all kinds of problems. You're going to have all kinds of tissues degrading and all kinds of things. That's my take on it. And again, research only. I'm not saying take this, don't take anything. But this is graft versus host diseases. And if you need to be able to get this repair mechanism built into your body. People take supplements all the time, and some of them work. I can't say they don't. I can't say they do. I can't say they don't. But it appears that some of them do have benefit. But other people don't take them. They still have, and they're fine. So I say that if you have an engrafted, working immune system, you'll have the bacteria required to create the enzymes which do the immunities. It's really sort of a straightforward process. All right, I'm going to leave it here. MIT News. They're still looking at nanosensors. Nano means billionths of the size of things, just tiny, tiny, tiny. They're going to use these tiny sensors to target enzymes. Enzymes are the things that do the work. Those are the extremely serious little molecules. All right, these are the enzymes right here. That's a serious molecule. And they're all different. Every single one of them. And there's thousands and thousands and thousands of them. And every one of them breaks something or builds something, one or the other. And the bacteria make these. All right, here's the bacteria. What I just showed you is one of these balls that squirts out of a bacteria. And then it opens up to become that extremely elegant molecule. Another thing that bacteria do is they squirt all around through your body using this little flagella on that fluid-filled highway, and they clean up all the goop and bring it down and drop it off at the lymph nodes to be cleaned up. They move things around. They clean up dead bodies. I mean, it's just the way it works. So you got that little thing, and it squirts out a ball, and that ball looks just like this. Right there. And then that ball unsheaths. The wrapping comes off and it turns into this, which is the very, very sophisticated protein I just showed you right there. Now that has to come up and find an invader that fits that sequence. It goes bang and it kills the invader. And every other one of the molecules that the invader is attached to, they all die at the same time. Because it ripples through there. It can do hundreds of thousands, literally hundreds of thousands of chemical reactions in a second. Boom, just like that. Oh, I know, don't forget, there's two types of these bacteria. One of them goes out scouting around with all this different magnetic signature. It doesn't eat anything, but it wants to find out what's out there. The other one is the one that kills it. It comes back and it turns on one of these things. It comes back to here and it says, all right, scoop up a whole bunch of these little things. Hold on a second. That wasn't the correct picture. This is the correct picture. Now, what happens is all of this little blue stuff is, in my mind, is more than likely enzymes. This guy is squirting around. He's gobbling up all these different blue balls and getting a big and he's going to jump right out into the fluid-filled highway. And here he goes doing precisely that. Right here he is there, right in the middle. And here he goes, zip, right out here with all this goop in him. Heading out to deliver it wherever it's got to go to kill something. Or break some food or whatever it does. But this is the white blood cell layer, and this is that fluid-filled highway. All right, here it is right here. This is what they're in, these bags, and then they jump out into this fluid-filled highway, and then they run around wherever they have to go. And this is basically what it looks like in the body, if I have it here, which I do not. Hold on one second. Okay, this is what it looks like in your body. What I just showed you was down in this black layer here, which again, this is all brand new. This is only 5 years ago they just even discovered this. These are those where that little thing was going around picking up those little blue things and jumping out into this fluid-filled highway. And that separates all of your vital stuff from, the things that scrub around and, your skin and the outside of your organs. All they're made to do is keep you together, basically. And they shut off. But down here is different. And once you have a cancer break through here, it can feed off of this layer very nicely. There's a lot of vitality in that layer. And here's what it looks like when it breaks through, if I have that, which, again, I do not. Oh, yes, here it is. This is what happens. They break through the skin cells and so forth and the fascia, which is not a whole lot to feed on. Once they get past that red layer, then they can eat. Basically, that's how you want to think about it. And they invade deeper and deeper and deeper. And when they find, no bacteria to squirt enzymes on them, they just keep on going. All right, I guess I'm going to have to leave it at this. They do understand that this layer here, the lymphatic vessel layer, separates you from all of the invasive stuff up here, away from your vital flesh down here, your muscles and so forth. This layer here is the lymphatic vessel and submucosal plexus. That layer right there, basically in my mind, is your immune system. And these fluids are what we need to determine what is living in there, what bacteria is present and what isn't present. And you'll find these in the feces, believe it or not, even though you're looking at them here and you say, wow, that's in my gut. Well, that's right. But they're exuded into the feces. And I believe we should be able to get some kind of a profile on what gut species should all look like if you're healthy. And if you're not, and if you have a certain condition, more than likely most people will have that same gut bacterial profile, at least in one area. And that area would be associated to some molecule that has to be made to protect that layer, and it's not being made. It's an enzyme, bacteria. So your bacteria will be missing. That's the problem. We got to find out what bacteria live where, and if there's excess or not enough, or not at all. And then associate that to a specific situation of a disease. I guess I'll leave it like that. And again, research only.